a country in transition. During more than 400 years of settlement, Bermuda has weathered a battery of challenges. The island has been lashed and battered by literal and figurative winds of change that have tested the country's ability to cope well with difficulties in a spirited and resilient way. Bermudians proved to be resilient, responding to adversity with confidence and strength. From a financial standpoint, the island sensibly and cleverly ensured that the island continued to develop from strength to strength. Bermudians learned to capitalize on a service-based economy, promoting a natural beauty and gift for hosting to create a buffer of wealth and a level of comfort for its residents that few other countries could offer.
Now,
for the first time in Bermuda's history,
the buffer is gone. The buffer is gone. The buffer is gone. The buffer is gone.
The buffer is gone.
It used to be a country traditionally ranked in the top tier as a leisure destination and business jurisdiction. Now, in a noticeable way, it displays an economic profile that a few decades ago would have seemed impossible to comprehend. Bermuda is laboring under a cost of government that continues to increase an already substantial debt. This threatens to upset the stability of the financial foundation of the country. Its population is declining. Its two principal industries, tourism and international business, are facing increasing competitiveness. Where once its citizens had a choice of jobs, unemployment spread very quickly, and in a way that is difficult to control. It hovers unpleasantly over a country in profound transition. The scenario is an unfamiliar, uncomfortable one. This proud island would normally be referred to as premier and blue chip. The grim reality Bermuda faces in 2013, the fourth straight year of decline in its gross domestic product, is that while other countries have begun to rebound from 2008's global downturn, Bermuda remains in recession.
We are staring at a degree of adversity for which we have no past experience. For the first time in the island's history, we have difficult, painful decisions to make. Sadly, it will affect thousands of our country's citizens. Our collective response to this 21st century problem, one which we have never faced before, will shape Bermuda's future for generations to come, for generations to come, for generations to come, for generations to come, for generations to come.
An unsustainable status quo.
From 2005 to date, government has spent more than it has earned. The Commission's interim report, on July 23, 2013, laid out key findings after 3 months of study. And on a whole, none of these findings have changed.
Hello, I am Krigna Kakavik from Russia. And I don't have time to waste. I have studied your country and how it is run for 3 months. And this is what I have found.
1. There is a lack of effective, accountable leadership in Bermuda's civil and public service. If this issue is resolved, other weaknesses are likely to be addressed. 2. The civil and public service suffers from a flawed, organizational structure. Principles of best practice management are not enforced. This has created a slow, difficult, wasteful, inefficient culture that is widespread throughout the organization. 3. Political interference has been allowed to thwart the effective management of the civil service. 4. There is a lack of effective leadership and poor monetary discipline by both civil servants and politicians. This shared responsibility to maintain revenue and expense budgets has been ignored for too long. 5. The Bermuda government, including lawmaking branch of the government, is too big for the size of the country it serves. With too many ministries and departments, the organization has become fat and bloated. As a result, there is evidence of unfocused, duplicated, and weak decision-making.
On the whole, Bermuda has no national strategic plan. Goals, objectives, and ways to execute them are absent. Some of the services provided by government could be delivered more efficiently and cost-effectively by the private sector. Inefficient use of the resources entrusted to government by the taxpayer should no longer be tolerated. Measuring efficiencies alone will never achieve accountability. Efficiency only matters if government is effectively contributing to the well-being of the people of Bermuda.
The urgency of now.
Bermuda's economic situation, with 4 years of negative GDP, must not be ignored, and the decisions required to address this must not be delayed. Based on the S.A.G.E Commission's 6-month review of the Bermuda government, we must reduce expenses of $65 million, $75 million, $80 million and $90 million a year for the next 4 years if Bermuda is to regain its financial footing. Effecting these reductions will be a gigantic task, but we believe it can be done. It will require political and public and a collective commitment to shared sacrifice. But although that may sound good, if we reduce spending, we must have a plan for generating revenue, increasing the island's population and thereby the economy, and establishing jobs for Bermudians.
Performance. The critical paradigm shift.
Government ministries and public service problems. While there are many flaws, too many to count, here are just a simple few as follows.
1. The employees of the civil and public service do not have sufficient leadership skills and capabilities at the right management levels. They do not have the necessary skills and capabilities present in an appropriate number of individuals to meet the challenges that Bermuda faces today.
2. Senior leadership has allowed bad practices to develop.
It has not held individuals to account for poor performance or inappropriate actions. While there are stars within government, both at senior management and staff levels, there is a collective lack of commitment to excellence. Results, accountability, and adherence to rules are literally invisible. And 3. While there are pockets of efficiency and small scales of effectiveness throughout the civil and public service, they are the exception rather than the rule.
Lack of accountability.
The S.A.G.E Commission found many examples of underperformance by permanent secretaries, directors, managers, and employees. There are few examples of consequences for underperformance, or even rule breaking. Leaders have allowed a lack of accountability at the top to set a poor tone for government employees.
Lack of effective performance management systems. There has been a failure to put in place an effective performance management system. The existing system is manual and done by hand. It's ineffective and not taken seriously by most government employees, including leaders. Best practice performance management systems, where present in these departments, but for some strange reason, are not appropriately utilized. Lack of performance culture.
Leaders have allowed a do-not-rock-the-boat culture to prevail at the management and employee levels. Basic and frank conversations about performance are avoided. High performers are not rewarded, and non-performers are transferred from one department to another. Some are allowed to roam around the office, or should I say, coast, leaving their coworkers to do their work.
Employees who are high performers are not rewarded or promoted for their performance. Low performers do not face consequences and are often retained and even promoted. Government employees are often not recognized for their performance, good or bad. There are examples of serious infractions for which there have been no consequences.
During interviews conducted by the S.A.G.E Commission, we were told that employees dismiss possible corrective action by saying things like,
"You can write me up."
We were also told of low performers being shuffled from one department to another, rather than receive corrective action.
It is difficult for supervisors in the Bermuda government to manage, discipline, or terminate non-performing employees. Managers find it difficult to manage employees with multiple agreements and provisions under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement. Because of this, the Bermuda government and union workers are not subjected to periodic evaluations of an employee's job performance against a set of expectations and goals. As a result, non-performers remain on the government payroll, which is the taxpayer dollar, and become a burden to their co-workers and supervisors. This has an impeding effect on team performance, and it becomes an unnecessary cost to government. At the permanent secretary and head of department level, there is little evidence of performance monitoring at all. In regards to objective measurements, in some cases, the permanent secretary and head of department level appear unaware of the severity of the issues facing government today. The Auditor General reported, in early 2013, that there were approximately 34 entities in arrears with financial statements. This represents 161 years of unaudited financial statements. This covers a period from 2003 to 2012. This lack of timely reporting prevents management action and removes any possibility of public transparency. The largest outstanding audit is for the Contributory Pension Fund. This is the fund Bermudians workers, in the public and private sector, pay into. This is the fund you plan to use upon reaching your retirement. This fund, sadly, has not been fully audited since 2005. Pension schemes for government employees and parliamentarians are close to $1 billion underfunded. To put it quite frankly, government cannot make that amount up in the predictable future. In addition, the contributory pension scheme, the one in which Bermudians rely on for retirement income, well, as of the 1st of August, 2011, it was underfunded by an enormous $2 billion. It is with sad and deep regret that I must tell you the harsh, painful reality of the situation. The truth is,
you want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
as I sit here at my desk, it is my duty to the government and the great and beautiful people of Bermuda to inform you of this tragic news. It is with sad regret that I must tell you. The promises that were made regarding pensions are unfortunately promises that now must be broken.